guys. Hey guys, how are you guys doing? Nice to see everybody here. Yeah, we're going to do a live stream and we have so much to talk about. How are you guys doing in chat? I see a lot of people I know. Wims, thanks for being here and being a moderator. Angela, Pam, it's Marie bitch. Thanks for also modding for me. I really appreciate you guys helping me out today. Yeah, there's so much going on in the Gypverse, right? I mean, she is just woo. She's like comment, 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 and so all this stuff that I had prepared for the for this live, I'm like, wait a minute, we're gonna have to push that back on the back burner because I really need to go over this stuff because she's given away some stuff in these comments she's made. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry because I've got it all for you. We're going to go over it. Okay. So, what's happened is over the last 24 hours, Gypsy has been um, over on TikTok writing like books, like novels about her medical issues. And she gave something away in it that no one's caught yet, but I caught it. I mean, maybe other people have caught it, but it just like puzzle pieces are coming together that I could never figure out really, right? Because we're missing, we're not back in, we don't have every single record. So it's of her medical records is what I'm talking about. So, anyways, thanks so much, you guys, for being here. I appreciate it so much. You guys keep me going. And so let me do this first though. I want to thank a few people that are here. First, Lanky Tor, who's been a member for 6 months. Buttercup, welcome, new member to the Becca Scoops channel. Welcome. Of course, Angel Baby. She says, hi, everyone. Hi, Becca. Can't wait for this one. Hope everyone is well. Thanks, Angel Baby. And thanks for being a member for 6 months. Oh, and Angel Baby has gifted 5 memberships. If you guys were the recipient of one of those memberships, make sure you thank Angel Baby because she is a super loyal supporter of my channel, and I just want everyone to thank her. Okay, and who else do we have? Marine Wife, member for 5 months. Thank you so much. Main Chick Carrie, member for 6 months. Beautiful Disasters, member has become a member. And April, member for 3 months. You guys, thank you so much. Of course, Susan Ryan, my loyal mod, who's been with me from the beginning. Susan, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it. Member for 5 months. And Francis, member for 3 months. Christine Covey, member for 6 months. Corinne, member for 6 months. Wow, you guys, has it been 6 months? I mean, that you guys have been members. It's just time is flying with this case, and we are getting closer and closer and closer to getting to all of the truth, right? We can't stop until we have all of the truth. So let me go ahead and put your comments there. So I can put your comments up there. So people that are watching on the replay will be able to see your comments, and I'll be able to see your comments as we go along. If you guys have questions, go ahead. I will get to questions also. I'll try to do the best I can. I'm just a one woman show here for tonight. So, anyways, yeah, we're not going to have a panel because there's just way too much information that I want to go over. Okay, so Gypsy Rose Blanchard was over on TikTok and she posted this. And we're going to start out with this one. Now, I'm going to start out with this one because I know she posted something on Facebook prior to that, and we'll get to that too. But this is much more juicy for me, my perspective, coming at it and researching the medical stuff. So here we go. She says, I had a swallow study done as a young child. The swallow study required iodine. Okay, wait a minute. We got to stop right there, right? We got to stop right there because it wasn't iodine, it was a barium swallow that was done on January 27th, 2004. Okay, that's what it was. It wasn't an iodine. Now, could she have had an iodine at some other time? Sure, I don't know. But the swallow study that I think she is talking about is the barium swallow study. Okay, so just right away, just wanted to point that out. Okay, so and I don't know why she had to point that out because at the end she says, "My mom said I'm allergic to it," but we'll get to that in a minute. All right. Since I was very young, I don't particularly remember what happened during the test, but what I do remember is that I went into the hospital as an inpatient. This is the missing piece, and I'm going to show you why. I went into the hospital as an inpatient and was there for a month. During this time, I was on 12 different medications. Strange how she remembers 12 different medications, right? I don't think I can ever remember what I was on when I had my kids in the hospital. I mean, I don't know how you remember that. But anyways, okay, 12 different, was taking by mouth. I was a young child, so of course I would complain and fuss. I didn't wanna take the medications, but of course the nurses forced me to. Sometimes I would throw up the medication because I didn't like the taste. Now, we're gonna get to a part here where she gives away something where I'm pretty sure she wasn't swallowing those meds herself, so we're gonna get to that. Yeah, she's telling on herself and she doesn't even know it. I would eat hospital food and I'm sure that I grew very bored with the bland flavors, but I remember holding my bottle, the baby bottle that I never was weaned off of, and I would drink my bottle in place of hospital food. Now that's a quirky little remembrance there, and I have some thoughts about that too. I'm thinking that because she was so underweight, that they were allowing the bottle as nutrition at this point. Okay. I'm thinking she must, if they're allowing the bottle, I'm thinking she, obviously she's underweight and they're allowing that for nutrition. I remember a psychiatrist, this is really kind of sick. I remember a psychiatrist that worked for the hospital coming to talk to my mom, and my mom got very upset because um this psychiatrist had thought that maybe I wasn't eating in the hospital because I was afraid of becoming fat like her. Why does she always have to get a dig on her mom? Why? Every time. Every single time. I doubt a psychiatrist said this. I really do not see a psychiatrist saying, "Well, your mom's fat. Is that why you're not eating? You don't wanna get fat?" To like what? Like a 9-year-old kid or an 8-year-old kid, however old she right? No, no. Okay. I'm gonna say no to that. Just me, my humble opinion. I was afraid of becoming fat like her, and so she got offended. But regardless, that was not the reason. What doesn't make sense is being able to eat chicken nuggets the week before going into the hospital. So I don't know. What I do know is the doctor placed. Now here it is. The doctor placed a temporary feeding tube, which goes through the nose down to the stomach. It's called an NG tube. And guess what else you do with an NG tube? You put the medications through the NG tube. You don't swallow the medications when you have an NG tube. The nurse will give the medications through the NG tube. Thus, what is this whole story about throwing up medications, taking them by mouth? Okay. All right. Just want to point that out. It's very difficult when I can't reference my medical records. Well, why can't you reference your medical records? And know for a fact that what is written is the truth of why something was done. I am left to my own memory, which with age is fading more and more. And it becomes harder to answer questions when I myself is still learning about my medical history. It's not like anyone has sat me down and read through every single medical record to me. Well, why don't you ask someone to do that for you? I'd be happy to do that for you. Explain and transcribe it in a way that I can understand it. So all I can say is I have my memories, and that is all that I have is my memories. Sorry, your guys' chat is in the way. Hold on. Uh, that is to go on is even more interesting is that after the swallow study, my mother claimed that I am allergic to iodine. Very convenient. Why is that convenient? Why is that convenient? Okay. Now, here's the deal, you guys. When she told me she was an inpatient, right? I think she said for a month. I was an inpatient for a month. Yes. Oh, you guys, you guys know that, like, before I put this up, you guys know, anyone ever been in the hospital? What do they like to do? They like to discharge you. They do not they do not keep people in the hospital for a month unless there's something a month, something serious going on, right? Right? And so I remembered this note because to me, all of Gypsy's microdeletion issues really revolve around her digestive tract, right? It starts in the mouth with the teeth, with the swallowing. It goes down where she had to have the laparoscopic procedure, the Nissan fundoplication. So all of these issues revolve around swallowing, eating, and the digestive tract. She had issues with that because of the microdeletion. And so when she said she was in the hospital for a month, you guys, hospital for a month? Anyone been in the hospital for a month? I mean, you've got to be pretty something major is going on, right? I mean, okay. So when I saw that, I remember her talk this note in the medical records about Gypsy being worked up by what was called the feeding hospital. Now, here is that note. Now, first, I want to point out that Gypsy's weight, this is from the medical records. Gypsy's weight has shown a steady increase from 36 pounds on July 21st, the year 2000, to present weight of 57. I think this was about after 18 months of her having the G tube. Okay. Now, down here, what's underlined in red, if you guys can see that, this is a note in the medical records. Prior to the peg placement, Gypsy had undergone intensive evaluation and attempted treatment for her feeding aversions by the feeding hospital. Now, you know what sounds like intensive evaluation? Being in the hospital for a month. That sounds intensive. And the feeding hospital, this is just inside like Mercy or wherever she was in the hospital at this time, where they're treating her for a month. It's a whole team. It's a whole multidisciplinary team that's trying to figure out what is going on with her. All right. This isn't something Dee Dee could feign or produce symptoms. She's in the hospital for a month under what kind of symptoms could Dee Dee produce if she's throwing stuff up and she's not swallowing the food? Right? I mean, did Dee Dee like prep her? Okay, so Gypsy, don't eat any food. I mean, there's certain things you want to do in life, and one of them is like drink fluids and eat. Your body requires it, right? And I don't care how mean or bad your mom is, at some point you're going to eat food if you're hungry, right? Gypsy had an issue with eating and she still has an issue with swallowing. We've all seen it, right? We've all seen it. So this is Gypsy telling on herself, and I just wanted to point out that I think this intensive evaluation by the feeding hospital was the 1 month inpatient treatment she got when they were trying to figure out what was wrong with her. Why is she not gaining weight? Why is she so thin? Why can't she swallow appropriately? Part of it, they said, was even psychological. They didn't even know. They didn't know if it was psychological or they didn't know because they didn't know about the microdeletion either. So it was this big mystery of why is this little girl, why does she can't swallow right? Why is she spitting out all the food? Why is she vomiting food? And all of the thing that Nissan fundoplication surgery is so that she wouldn't vomit. It stopped her from vomiting so she could get adequate nutrition. That's what that surgery that and it's not like a major surgery, it's a laparoscopic surgery, but yeah, she had it. All right, let's go on with the other things Gypsy was saying. And I'm checking the chat. So if you guys, I'm trying to slow down a bit. I get really like worked up when I do this because I want to get all the information out, but I have to remind myself, just settle down, settle down. We'll get to it. We'll get to it. All right. I'm gonna let me go. This is about Christy, right? This one. So I want to skip that one for a minute. I want to stick with the medical stuff for a minute, and then we'll get to the stuff she said about Christy and the stuff she said about Nick. And I also have some video. Okay. So first, of course, this is Gypsy talking. So first, of course, I would take my child to the doctor if she had a symptom. Now, with that said, if the symptoms I having was real, that would be a good point. However, the symptoms were false. Okay, so here she's denying, she's again denying that she needed any of these procedures. The removal of my salivary glands, for example, my mother created the symptom by putting a numbing cream. This is the most ridiculous thing she says, almost. Okay. If you look up Oragel, do you know how much Oragel you'd have to keep reapplying and reapplying? And guess what happens with Oragel? It's toxic. You can't ingest that much. It becomes like a poison. So I'm like, no, your mom was not doing that. Like when the doctor runs out of the room, she's like rubbing it on your gums again. I mean, come on, just stop with this craziness. Okay, so to answer your question, no, the doctor who performed the surgery did not test to make sure it was an accurate diagnosis. Is she for real? Is she for real with this? Okay, should I remind her? I think I will. I think I'll remind her about this point. Okay, so this whole point about her salivary glands. Let me get that. All right, where is it? The salivary glands. Okay. Now, up here, it says medical interventions for the problems she was having. She was having gag reflex problems, meaning, when the doctor puts the tongue depressor in your mouth and you gag, she was having delayed gag reflex bilaterally on both sides. Okay. That's not something you can fake. You can't fake that, right? It's like you can't. Okay. And then she was having the swallowing difficulties. And so now this is the salivary gland timeline. This is to prove that not only did they do their due diligence to give her this surgery, it was almost 2.5 years before they even considered giving her this surgery. So at first, they gave her this medication by mouth. You see, January 14th, 2004, they start her on this by mouth medication to see if that will help. And the doctor orders the barium swallow test then at that point. Okay. Then 2 weeks later, she gets the barium swallow test. And the note on the barium swallow test says that she exhibited significant difficulty in swallowing all consistencies of food. Only small quantities were able to be swallowed without spitting out the food. Okay? So does that have something to do with Oragel? Am I missing something here? Because none of this makes sense. All right. Next, they gave her Botox treatments. Okay. And they gave her Botox treatments all the way until after she got to Missouri. So there you see the time frame begins. They start treating her for the hypersalivation January 2004. And it isn't until May of 2006 that they do the corrective surgery, that they remove the 2 salivary glands. Now, where isn't the appropriate workup? Where isn't the appropriate due diligence for all this? And the doctors are making notes like there. Number 3, the doctor notes patient receives Botox therapy to her major salivary glands with good results. So the Botox was working for a long time, and then it stopped working. And only then did they decide to give her the salivary gland removal. No, this isn't a crazy thing. In one of my past videos, I showed you guys that other little girl where her mom really did have Munchausen by proxy. Her name was Olivia Gant, and they had given Olivia the same swallowing test, and Olivia's test results were perfect. She had no swallowing difficulty at all, yet somehow that mom finagled the G tube. Okay. So there's the difference, that these medical records with Gypsy Rose Blanchard show she had issues. There's no way she can deny that, but she is denying it in these things that she's talking about here, right? Where she says the removal of my salivary glands, for example, my mother created the symptoms. Are you kidding me? No, she did not. You had tests, you had treatment. Your mom wasn't walking around with a carton of Oragel everywhere you went for 2.5 years. This is crazy. You guys, this is crazy, because part of the swallowing problems probably had to do with the hypersalivation also. The saliva pooling in her mouth, gagging her, right? Too much saliva in your mouth and you can't, you're trying to talk, it's part of it. It's all part of it. All right. So what else does she say? All right, let me check on the chat. Are you guys okay? Am I going too fast? If I'm going too fast, just let me know. Okay, great. Great. All right. So, okay, so she said, okay, so to answer your question, no, the doctor who performed the surgery did not test to make sure it was an accurate diagnosis. What? I just showed you what they did. I just showed you for 2.5 years, they worked her up for that problem. It wasn't like a one-time thing. And Dee Dee said, you know what? Let's remove some salivary glands. No, there's not even any note. Look, all through the medical records, I couldn't find one note where it said, mother is obsessed to get this done. Mother is pushing for this. Because you know what? As a nurse, I would write that down. If I saw a mother just being overly aggressive, I would be like, yeah, I better note that in the medical record. Something wrong with that woman, right? Nowhere does it say that. Yet in that other case I was talking about, Olivia Gant, they did have nurses' notes like that. Like, this mother is hyper focused. This mother is insisting that this treatment isn't enough. Nowhere do we find any note like that about Dee Dee Blanchard. Nowhere. Okay. So Gypsy goes on, saying it wasn't an accurate diagnosis. Well, yeah, it was. So I can sue that doctor based on that alone. Oh, really? I'd like to see that happen, because we'll get to the malpractice in a minute. So that knocks off that surgery as necessary. I just showed you why it was necessary. I just showed you. I just proved it. Sorry. Sorry. Now let's move on to other things I remember. She says, test on my kidneys as a young child. Oh, I love this. I love this one too. You guys are going to laugh at this. Now, test on my kidneys as a young child. My mother would always come into the restroom for when they needed a urine specimen. I remember my mother bringing a safety pin that was pinned to her shirt. And after I would pee in the cup, she would prick her finger and drop a few drops of blood into my urine, then claimed I had blood in my urine due to issues with, hold on. Issues with, sorry, I like pinned a shirt, blah, 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 blah. Again, moved on as necessary. The feeding tube wasn't placed. Oh, issues with my kidneys. All right, you guys, guess what? There's nothing in Gypsy Rose medical records that I can see that has anything to do with her kidneys. Okay. The only thing that had anything to do with her urinary tract was that they said that she was incontinent at times, right? Thus the diapers, that she had this problem. One doctor noted she had this problem where the urine backs up into the ureters and it was causing some incontinence. Okay. But there's nothing, there's no doctor's note, there's no test, there's nothing in there that says, oh my God, there's something going on, there's blood in her urine. No. Maybe she's got the record. I don't have it. But again, nothing, and there was no procedure that has anything to do with her kidneys. She had no procedure. She's even admitted to what procedure she had, and none of them have to do with her kidneys or her urinary tract. So why are we talking about this? And again, this pricking of her mom's finger and putting the blood in her urine, that sounds so familiar, like another case. that I can't think of, but it sounds like something she read somewhere else and that incorporated it now into her own story. That's in my humble opinion. I don't know if that's true or not. Okay. I don't know. But yeah, they said she had incontinence of urine, but they didn't say that she had issues with her kidneys or anything like that. So I don't know why she's adding this little tidbit here. Nothing to do with anything that happened to her. Okay, again, this is another example of her making a false symptom. Well, please bring me the medical record that shows that you were worked up for your kidney issues. Because I don't see that. So either this is a lie and this didn't happen, or you're holding on to these medical records that show you had a whole bunch of kidney problems that your mom made symptoms for. Because I don't see that anywhere. And as far as surgeries goes, you showed us what surgeries you had, and it had nothing to do with your kidneys. So I don't know. I don't know. This is like a bait and switch thing. Look over here. Look at my kidneys. I don't know. All right. Both examples, she did something to intervene to create the problem for a diagnosis. Oh, I see why she did it. Okay. So what she's trying to say is that the Oragel and this fake thing about pricking the finger, putting blood in her urine is her way of showing, see, she had Munchausen by proxy, guys. She had it. This is how she made false symptoms. Okay. So what are the false symptoms you're saying? That she had like a carton of Oragel that she ran around with, and somehow you didn't get toxic reaction from it, from her constantly putting it on your right, and nothing happened with your kidneys. So I don't know if this is all you've got, Gypsy. It's pretty weak. Just admit you needed the procedures. I just don't know why she just doesn't admit that now. I mean, it's obvious. All right. Thanks, Forest Friend. Thanks for the one gift membership. Really appreciate it, Forest Friend. All right, guys, let's move on. What else she says? Okay. Again, now, can we remove that as necessary? Okay. Both examples did something to intervene to create the problem for a diagnosis. Again, now, can we remove that as necessary? No. What are you talking about? The salivary glands? Nothing had happened to your kidneys. So that's, I don't know what the hell you're talking about your kidneys for. But no, the salivary glands needed 2.5 years. The doctors worked you up. Okay, it wasn't a split decision. They didn't go into it, rush into it. Nope. Now here, next part, she says, the feeding tube wasn't placed until age 8, I believe. So before the age of 8, I was eating crab and gumbo, fries and nuggets from McDonald's. Well, I don't know what you were eating, but you weighed 36 pounds at 8 years old. So whatever you were eating, either you couldn't keep it down, you had difficulty swallowing, something was going on, and you better thank your mother for doing something about all these problems, because you probably would be dead. I know one thing. I'm going to show a video clip where a doctor says you would be blind today if your mom didn't do the surgeries on your eyes. Blind. This isn't just a lazy eye. Christy's like, oh, it's just a lazy eye. No, it was more than that. Okay. It was more than that. All right. Let me finish out this little thing she says here. Okay. There was no real signs of issues eating. What? Okay. You got to see my face for this. What? There were no real signs of issues eating? You had to stay in the hospital for a month to be worked up by the feeding hospital because you couldn't swallow right. They had to put an NG tube down your nose at first to give you nutrition because something was going on. They were this is crazy. This is crazy. And when they tell me they put the NG tube down first, obviously she didn't have the G tube. That feeding hospital for a month was why they put in the G tube. You see, they did their due diligence. They had her in the hospital for a month, for Christ's sake, before they even decided to put in that G tube. She was under the care of nurses and doctors, a whole feeding team. All right, let me show you something. I looked up what a feeding team is so that you guys can get a good idea of what it is. Is this it? Okay. In a hospital setting, treatment for feeding aversion is a multidisciplinary and tailored to the patient's underlying cause. All right, let me just drop down. For infants and children, hospitals provide a coordinated team of specialists to diagnose and treat feeding aversion in infants, toddlers, and older children. Treatment typically begins with a thorough medical assessment to address any physical issues. And so here's the number of people that were helping with her while she was in the hospital for a month. She had a gastroenterologist. She had a speech language pathologist or occupational therapist. She had a dietitian, and she admits she had a psychiatrist, not a psychologist. So all of those people were intensively working on her issue for a month before they ever placed the G-tube. But she wants you and I to think, oh, my mom just made up shit. My mom made up shit and they put the G-tube in me. My mom was starving me. Even though she couldn't pass a swallow test on her own, it was her mom. Now, the other little girl, Olivia Gant, she passed the swallow test. But not Gypsy. Not Gypsy. So thank you for giving me that piece of the puzzle about you being in the feeding hospital. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Oh, Pat's Pajama. Thank you so much. She says, thanks for all the great work, Becca. You explain it very well and are so organized. P.S. I love your facial reactions. Thank you, Pat's Pajama. Thank you for the $20. Really, really appreciate it. Appreciate all of you guys in chat, all of you. And if I start going too fast, just say, slow down, Becca, slow down, and I will. All right, so I think we're finished with that one. Okay, the feeding tube wasn't placed until I was 8. There were no real signs of issues with eating. She's just astonishing, isn't she? So that knocks that off the table as necessary. Yeah, I wasn't in the hospital for a month. Yeah, I didn't go in the hospital. Oh, yeah, that's right. I just told you guys I was in the hospital for a month, but I didn't have any feeding problems. What? I mean, you guys, I can't make this up. I can't make this up. She's making it too easy. No, okay? No. All right. So I think, let me see, is there one more thing? This, I think, wait, does that go? Oh, yeah. Okay. So this is the next page. So this is the end of this one diatribe she did. All right. So, as for me playing in that home movie, I was like 5 or 6. I was a child and behaved as one. Are you seriously going to try and claim a 5 or 6-year-old has a master plan to manipulate her mother and con the whole world? Like, what? You can't be serious. At that age, I was running around in the background. Hey, Jen, welcome to Becca Scoops. Thank you for joining. At that age, I was running around in the backyard with my cousins and living a fairly normal childhood. As for my teeth, I had cavities that would have needed braces. Are you guys, did you guys see the teeth, the teeth, the teeth? Okay. This is more than needing braces. These are damaged teeth. Okay. Damaged teeth that started when she was a child. Okay. These are her baby teeth that they had to cap. Why did they have to cap them? Because severely damaged. I think it was the enamel issue. Regardless of what it was her teeth didn't just need braces. Honey, your teeth, you should be thanking your mom. Okay. Okay. And they just don't pull teeth for no reason. That's another thing, you know? All right. I would have needed, did she, okay, I got to come back. Let me say something here. Do you guys think that she really would have wanted those teeth? Do you guys think she really would have wanted those teeth? Even if they put braces on them? You saw what they look like. Yeah, it could have been from the stomach acid, Glenda. Great point. So she had GERD. It was one of the reasons she had that Nissan fundoplication, the laparoscopic procedure to stop her from vomiting. It also stopped any acid reflux from coming up into her mouth, and that acid can wear away on the enamel I'm not exactly sure exactly why her teeth were all screwed up, but they were screwed up from day one. Her baby teeth were screwed up. And you saw what the permanent teeth looked like as they were coming in. Not all were they all askew going every which way, but they just looked damaged. All right. So as for my teeth, I had cavities and would have needed braces. Oh God. But I do not remember having any major issues with my teeth. Oh, I can't I don't remember having any major issues with my teeth. Did did we just look at the pictures? Did we, well, I okay. I need a Xanax to get through this. I really do. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get through this, but I am. I'm going to get through it. I'm going to get through it. And yes, I signed up for the last extraction. What she means by that is that she signed herself. She was an adult and she signed up for it. Barry in bed. I'm so excited I made it to alive. Thank you for coming. And Jack and Pickles vlogs. Didn't she have bottle rot from drinking out of it? Yeah, that of course. All of those things could have been why. There's numerous reasons her teeth were screwed up. It could have been the bottle rot. It could have been a lot of other things. All right. Oh, okay. You can't say it. You'll get banned. All right, I won't. I don't know what can I say? Tell me what I can't say. I don't know because I haven't been doing YouTube for that long. So if I say something I'm not supposed to say, tell me. All right. And yes, I signed up for the last extraction. So she was an adult. She signed herself, but did not have the understanding to know what that piece of paper meant and the importance. Again, not really my fault that my mother didn't give me an education. God, Gypsy, please stop bagging on your mom. You murdered her. Isn't that enough? Can you just stop? You know what, Gypsy? You sound pretty eloquent when you want to. In interviews, you sound pretty educated. You don't sound stupid. Okay. What did Christy say? She's smart. Don't let her fool you. What did Christy say to the detective? She's smart. Don't let her fool you. Oh, okay. I got it. All right. No, no, no. Yeah. Got it. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. Who let me know? Vladdy. Thank you. All right. Okay, again, not really my fault. My mom didn't give me an education. There are cases of MBP with less than this. You haven't proven anything. You've proven nada, nothing, nothing. We have debunked all of it. Symptoms that weren't real. Well, and here's the thing. Why is she so bothered about this right now? What could it be? Why is she so worried about feigning ignorance about stuff also? She's trying to feign ignorance. Like, I didn't know. I don't know. Someone needs to read my medical records to me. Didn't she have like a picture of herself, like with all the medical records like spread out? Didn't she have that? And like she was going over them. And didn't she write her memoir? Right? Oh, that's the other thing we're going to get to. She's bringing out her memoir again. And I got a video clip about that too we're gonna go over. All right. In fact, let's get to what I think was really going on here now that we've kind of debunked what she said there. I know she's written some other things I'll get to, but I want to break this up so I'm not just reading and then let's look at some videos too. The more I thought about this after she divulged all this information and I started putting like a timeline together in my head kind of, and knowing what was going on with Dee Dee, I went and rewatched a few documentaries because there are some things we can learn from what people say. They slip up and they tell us things, right? And so one of the things had to do with when Dee Dee when her mom died, and around the same time her mom dies, all of this issues with Gypsy kind of ramps up, right? Okay, so let's take a look at this clip. I do have to um pause it every once in a while just for copyright, but I'll be, and I hope chat's doing okay. No problems. No one's being mean or anything. I hope not. All right. Here we go. Let's take a look at this clip. Hold on, I gotta back it up. Okay, why this is all important is because we want to understand Dee Dee, and when we understand her, it's going to prove even more so why this NBP, this Munchausen thing is a total lie. And Gypsy is doing her darnest to vilify her mom again, right? And she's doubling down, saying here these surgeries, weren't necessary, but let's listen to this. And then when the mom died, I don't know, you guys, there's a lot of women in chat. I'm sure a lot of you, like I was at some point, were a single mom with kids. Do you guys remember that? The ones that live that? Being a single mom with kids, being poor, being really poor, not knowing how you're gonna feed your kid, not knowing where you're gonna live. This is what happened to Dee Dee. Why, when the mom died, it's kind of like the siblings were all done with her. You've heard how they've spoken about her. They didn't like her too much. She was the baby. She was spoiled, yada, 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 yada. And so what they're saying here is when the mom died, Dee Dee was persona non gratis. And what he just said was she was moving from project to project. What's the projects? That's Section 8 housing. Right? Dee Dee was super poor. All right. So keep that in mind right here. Keep that in mind. I wonder why. I'm not making excuses for writing bad checks or running up credit cards or anything like that. But again, put yourself, you're a single mom. You have a kid that's sick. You don't have a way to make money. I'm sorry. You're going to do what you're going to do. All right. And obviously, if Dee Dee was that big of a criminal, like with checks or credit cards or whatever, she would have been arrested. The cops would have found her. So I don't think it was anything like major, but yeah, there was some truth to that? Sure, of course. But why? Why was she having to do that after the mom died? What happened? Yeah, she was abandoned. She had no one. She was alone. You know what happens when you're really poor, you guys, and why you move around a lot? Because usually you can't pay rent somewhere and you end up getting kicked out and you got to move again. And then you can't make that rent and then you move again, right? I mean, this is what happens to the poor in our country. It's not rocket science, right? Do people love moving around? In fact, Gypsy's going to admit here that they were homeless at one point. They were homeless. And I think everyone forgets to put yourself in that mindset. It's survival mode. You're like, what are we going to eat for dinner? I don't have any money to buy my kid food, right? Not that she would eat it. She had swallowing problems, but I'm just saying, right? That's right. So they were homeless at times. Okay. So now that's the mindset. That's the mindset. Do you think the mindset is, I want to produce sickness in my child? I want to make my child sick, or I need to get money. I do have a sick child. And what charities can I go out and get money from? Right. I mean, look, hopefully there's not a lot of people in chat that have ever been this poor. Okay. I can't say I've ever been this poor, but I knew people. I worked for the county. When you work for the county, you're working for basically the indigent and the homeless a lot because the only place they can go and get medical care is at the county. So I worked for the county of LA, and yeah, I knew a lot of these people. They were my patients. And that's why I picked up on this moving from place to place. They were acting like she was these idiots are oh, these idiots are acting like Gypsy Dee Dee was wanted number one. Like there are wanted posters all over the world for Dee Dee for writing a few bad checks. And so that's why she's moving from place to place, outrunning the cops. Give me a break. That's what they're implying. No, she was poor. She had Section 8. Okay. They were homeless. So is it any wonder Dee Dee did a little conning? Doesn't that make sense? Doesn't that make way more sense than this elaborate story of Dee Dee having this weird disorder called Munchausen by proxy. Angel baby, thanks for the 10 pounds. R.I.P. Dee Dee. Absolutely. R.I.P. Dee Dee. The more and more I get into the story, there was a point when I was doing the research on this stuff with Dee Dee that I kind of was like, God, maybe she wasn't that great of a person, But today, after I read what Gypsy said about being in the hospital for a month, you know what? And then just rewatching that part of the documentary, the way they were talking about her, and then they're just like thinking about it and going, no, women with kids don't want to move all around all the time. No, they don't. No, we don't. Single moms. When I was a single mom, I don't want to move around all the time. Right. And so it just makes me so angry now because of the way she's continuing to vilify her mother. All right. So I thought that was very interesting. So now we understand that, yeah, why did Dee Dee do some of the cons? Like, say that Gypsy had muscular dystrophy when she didn't and blah, 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 blah. She never made her sick. But you know what? She sure gave her a pretty damn good life going to Disneyland all the time and going to all these concerts. A little bit off. Thank you. Love you, Becca. Thank you for all you're doing. Thank you. Thank you so much for being a member for 5 months. Thank you. All right, guys. Let me remove that. And I want to get to, should we watch this next? Let's watch this next little video that also is going to prove how Gypsy is lying in these comments.
Could have been the start of Dee Dee's Munchausen's by proxy.
Thanks, Jen. What do you think about the new chest binding claim? I don't know. Have you guys ever heard that before? I don't think I've ever heard that before. I don't think I have. Lisa Evans, thanks for the 5 pounds. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. I don't think I've ever heard of it. I don't know what to think about it. It sounds kind of crazy to me. I don't know. All right. Let's go ahead and listen to this. What? You go blind? Oh, okay. Well, thank you, Dee Dee. Thank you, Mama Dee Dee, for Gypsy can still see now, right? Yeah. Cynthia Shockey, thanks for your dedication and truth. Thank you for the $10, Cynthia. Thank you for being a member to Becca Scoops. I really appreciate it. Professionals are without the knowledge that she had a rare chromosomal disorder. Do you know how foolish these people must think now if they even know it yet? I would love to get a hold of Dr. Steele and tell him, dude, did you know? I don't think, obviously you didn't know. This is Gypsy in now at first I tried to find out, this looks like a Catholic school uniform. I went to Catholic school for 12 years. I know what they look like. But also I found out that someone said in Lafourche Parish that sometimes even the public school kids wear them. So I'm not sure, but obviously Gypsy was in school. And a lot of people are doing good work on to find stuff out about this. But here's Christy again. And Christy has also told so many lies about Dee Dee. So many lies. How does he know? And I'm not saying Dee Dee was like on top of the homeschooling. I have no idea. But how does he know? None of them know. We know she enrolled her at one point in homeschooling. But how does he know? That, you know what? They just want to badmouth her. They just got to vilify her and talk out of their ass, basically, because to them, oh, she moved so far away. We didn't know what was going on. Oh, but I know she wasn't homeschooling, Gypsy. I mean, do you see these people? This excuse of this motorcycle accident to say everything happened after the motorcycle accident, when we know based on our microdeletion, there was going to be problems with weak muscles and stuff like this. But this is what she's claiming. And I don't believe it. I don't buy it. Yeah, I don't buy it. I don't buy this either. So I don't think it was, she scraped her leg in a motorcycle accident and her mom ran out and found a wheelchair and said, go sit in it. I don't believe that. That's crazy. That's crazy. I think it was over time. She had issues, muscular issues. That's part of it. Hypotonia. It's part of it. Was it that she needed to be in the wheelchair constantly? No. And in fact, there are places where you can see that when she was younger, that I think somebody that was in the Girl Scouts with her said she was in the wheelchair, but then she would get up and play and go back in the wheelchair. So I think that most of the kind of con stuff didn't happen until they got to Missouri. There was a little bit, but really when they after Dee Dee went through Hurricane Katrina, can you imagine? After being so poor, living in Section 8 housing, and then boom, Hurricane Katrina happens. And now you have nothing. No wonder, right? Now you're forced to move out of state. And yeah, luckily she used Gypsy's, illness to get life flighted out of there. Good for her. I would have done the same thing. You bet I would have done the same thing with my kids. Hell yes. Anyone that knows anything about Hurricane Katrina and what was going on around in New Orleans at the time was a hellhole. Violent crimes all over the place. No food, no water. It was like a nuclear bomb went off in that city. Who wouldn't say, "Hey, my kid's ill. Can you get me out of here?" Of course. I mean, more and more I have getting more and more admiration for Dee Dee as the case goes on, for yeah, she wasn't perfect, but damn, she was on her own and she did pretty good for being on her own, right? And I think my point is this. So they get to Missouri, right? And they get the Habitat house, right? And they get some trips to Disney, the Make-A-Wish, they get these things, right? And I think after Dee Dee got the Habitat house, I think she calmed down. Like no more survival mode, right? She could exhale. And then a lot of the conning kind of stopped. It kind of stopped at that point. So I think that's the truth of the matter. All right. I think Dee Dee psychologically was probably traumatized, yes, by the mother dying and her family abandoning her. They didn't want her. And then having to be in Section 8, being so poor on food stamps, all of it. And then Hurricane Katrina hits. And again, she's in this hellhole with this young, sick child, and she's got to get out of there. Right. I mean, it's pretty amazing what she did, basically, as one mom, right, taking care of this kid, and Gypsy murders her for it. It's just so sick when you think about it. It's so sick. All right. River Wanderer, $10. Thank you. There are so many people with disabilities who only need to use a wheelchair part-time. Exactly. Just because it's part-time doesn't mean the disability isn't real. Exactly. Exactly. All right. Now let's go to this thing that she also posted about Christy. All right. Gypsy also wrote, I mean, can I ask a question? Who takes care of the baby while she's running around writing these novellas on TikTok? I don't even think I have enough time to do this, and I don't have a baby, but okay. She writes, this is definitely one of the questions that has played my mind. Oh, by the way, before I forget, these comments were all on a TikTok account. I have the link in my description box. And so I just want to give her, I think her name's Vicky Rambling Mama, I think, over on TikTok. I want to make sure I give her credit. Paula talking, Dee Dee must have felt so alone. Exactly. Exactly. Thank you for the $5, Paula. Yes, Dee Dee must have felt completely alone, utterly alone. All right. I love my family, she writes. I will never turn my back on my family. But if you want the answer is Christy told me that when she reached out to attorneys, they never called her back. And yes, you are correct. In an interview, she said that attorneys wouldn't touch the case, which is the truth. I do not know because I am not Christy to answer that question. Again, Gypsy is feigning ignorance. Okay. That's how a lot of manipulators get away with lying. And then when they're caught, They feign ignorance. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know what was written down in the medical record, right? But I don't know anything, but I know one thing. My mom had Munchausen, right? Yeah. All right. So she's throwing this off on Christy about the malpractice. I do not know because I am not Christy to answer the question. All I know is what I was told and what she said in an interview. So seriously, okay. Let me get this straight. You and Christy have never had a discussion about malpractice, about filing malpractice. You've never had one discussion like, maybe we could make millions of dollars because I got all these unnecessary treatments. What say you, Christy? You never spoken to Christy about this? You don't know. You're like, I don't know. You guys are going to have to go ask Christy. I don't know. I heard Christy said something in an interview. Like she doesn't even know Christy. All right. Just had to do it. Just had to do it. Sorry. All right. The answer is all I know is that what I was told and what she said in an interview. Right. We don't have discussions about this ever. As for if my family bringing the media to me, the answer is the documentary Mommy, Dead, and Dearest was already being filmed when I was still incarcerated in the Greene County Jail. Aaron Lee Carter was already making the documentary, whether I participated or not. I had no choice. No, that was a propaganda piece, Gypsy. That was a propaganda piece. Ashley Sweetheart 89. I just wanted to show some love and support. Thank you, Beck. Thank you, Ashley, for the $10. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you for being a Becca Scoops member too. Thank you so much. All right. Whether I participated or not, this was going to be made, she was saying, but I was given the opportunity to share my side. Then once I went to prison, Christy was approached by Francesca Maselli, which that altogether has a long history. Her name is Fancy. Name is Fancy. And now she made false claims that she is a producer. And so Christy brought Fancy into our lives. After that went south, who created the act? By then, I had already met Melissa Moore, who had connections with Lifetime. Melissa wanted to do an updated documentary, to which I agreed to. Season 1 of Life After Lockup was a continuation of the Prison Confessions. Then they were picked up for season 2. So it's honestly a little bit both. I had producers and journalists contacting me directly while in prison, and they would contact Christy and she would do some interviews. Okay. So this whole thing about the family has never spoken about malpractice is bullshit. My novellas, welcome to being a Becca Scoop member. Thank you for joining us. Okay, this is bullshit. We all know it's bullshit. Here is Gypsy on the Nick Vile file.
It cost me my life. What does that mean to someone else? So they aren't held accountable. And I actually, like, my parents and my dad and stepmom tried to look for an attorney that can take my case.
My parents and I, my parents and I. That sounds like you're doing it together, having discussions about it. But of course, the story has changed once again.
Case for malpractice lawsuit, and I don't think anyone wants to touch it. Like, I've not been able to find one.
Really?
Yeah, no, that's really surprising, actually.
It seems so obvious.
Maybe there's some lawyers listening to this.
Yeah, I need
Yeah.
some legal advice.
Yeah.
How about no, lawyers would love this case if it was true. Yeah, lawyers typically love a case like this. You don't even have to pay them. I got an email today from a woman who works for a big malpractice firm down in Los Angeles, out here where I live. And she said just what I'm going to say right here, and I'll probably share that comment later, but she said, hey, I work for a big law firm. They would love a case like this. They would be jumping for a case like this. They would practically almost pay Gypsy to take the case like this, right? Because it's worth millions of dollars. But there was just one problem. Once they take a look at it and they're like, you needed all those surgeries. And when I say all, I'm talking like, really, she had 2. Okay. There's like basically 4 procedures, and 2 of them were kind of like real surgeries, which was the salivary glands and the Nissan fundoplication. So we're talking 2. 2 procedures that you can say, yes, they required hospitalization. Yeah. So it just gets weirder and weirder with her. And now she's doubling down on all this over on TikTok. Yeah, all right. So before she wrote these novellas over on TikTok, and you guys tell me, why do you think she's doing this? I mean, why is she like so bothered by this right now? What is she scared of? Is she scared the truth's going to come out? Yeah, I think so. So she's feigning ignorance. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. All right. So before she wrote all that stuff about the bullshit, let me see. Oh, okay. She wrote this, and this is long. Little Miss Dangerous, $5. Thank you. Gypsy and Dee Dee were still doing big cons in Missouri. They had concerts, celebrity dinner, and trips on Comic-Con and the Disney trips as adults. Yep, they were. They were. Okay. This is I mean, you guys, in 48 hours, she wrote this, and then everything I've already gone over. Again, who's taking care of the baby? Or is this Chat GPT or whatever it's called? Right? Am I right? Am I right? Okay. I want to take a moment to acknowledge that I'm a controversial topic and why some on social media invalidate my trauma. My mother had never been formally diagnosed. She's admitting it. She's admitted this. She must feel the heat. She's starting to admit some things. My mother has never been formally diagnosed with MBP. However, experts, Gypsy, the experts you're talking about had no idea you had a microdeletion. And you're talking about one expert, Dr. Mark Feldman. Okay? Okay. However, experts strongly believe that with all the warning signs, she had undiagnosed MBP, Munchausen by proxy, or another term, factitious disorder, and malingering. Oh, she's going to add malingering now. Interesting. She often lied about my health and manipulated everyone around her, including the doctors and the family. Yeah, based like just what I went over about how long it took them to take your salivary glands out, I didn't see any manipulation going. At 2.5 years, Gypsy, 2.5 years before that surgery was done. So where's the heavy manipulation going on? The truth is, most of the surgeries and medications I went through were unnecessary. And you guys, we've gone through the medications. She was on like mostly over-the-counter crap and then seizure medication. That's about it. That's about it. Over the past decade, my story has been told across countless media outlets and my memoir. Oh, we're going to get to our memoir. Let's get to our memoir because I think part of the reason she's doing this too is because they're bringing out her memoir again. They've rewritten it or something. It's the new edition's coming out. And here's what she says. Yes, there are small inconsistencies in many interviews and documentaries and a scripted drama series that altogether had many over-dramatized and inaccurate details. That is what happened when information from others, friends, family, coworkers, gets mixed in with my own memories. This oversight will be corrected. Here it is in the reprint of my memoir, My Time to Stand. All right. Now, we'll get back to this, but I want to bring up a video here of what I found out about My Time to Stand, right? Because I caught her in something in My Time to Stand. So let's look at that. Risk of delayed development, intellectual disability. Trying to justify running away to be with a man she's known only a few weeks. And yes, her mother was probably a very overprotective parent. In fact, Gypsy doesn't describe her mom as abusive. No, she describes her as overprotective. Gypsy also says she does not know she was being abused.
I really didn't think any abuse was going on. It's like when you're abused, but you've lived that way your whole life, you don't really know that you're being abused. You don't know any different.
In earlier interviews, Gypsy reveals she did not know she was being abused. But then why does she claim years later in her memoir the reason she killed her mother was over abuse, severe ongoing abuse?
After the beating in the alley, the 2 weeks tied to the bed, the BB gun, the night in the shed, a lifetime of lies, spells, isolation, starvation, emotional manipulation, and medical procedures with life-changing side effects, this unnecessary exploratory surgery on my voice box felt most threatening to me.
Huh, isn't it interesting she's not bringing this up at all? Zero, nada, nothing since we debunked her and busted her on this one, right? What happened to the motive? This surgery that you needed to have that they were planning to cut your throat. What happened? Where's the diet? Where's the big explanation on that? I'm waiting. I'll wait, but I think I'm going to wait for a long time because wasn't this your motive in your memoir? This is from your memoir. This is from your memoir. This was why you murdered your mom, you said, because she was going to cut your voice box. Yet I don't see you addressing this topic anywhere over on TikTok in your many, many, many diatribes in the last 48 hours. Can you please address this? Where's the motive? So this wasn't the motive. We know that now. So what was the motive?
Any slip of the hand could leave me voiceless, mute forever. This is what I believed. This is what I felt. This is when the thought finally came. It's me or her.
Gypsy claimed in her memoir she stumbled upon a real medical disorder she never knew she had. You see, Gypsy acknowledging this very real genetic issue would put all her claims of medical abuse into question. Now here, why I'm showing you this clip, this is from one of my videos, is because she is reprinting or doing something with this memoir, and I've already caught her in something in this memoir, okay, where they were screwing around with it. And you're going to see, and it's about the microdeletion. However, Gypsy realized she had to address it in her book as her genetic disorder was becoming public knowledge.
You have microdeletion 1q21.1.
Correct.
It's a chromosomal change in which a small piece of chromosome 1 is deleted in each cell. This increases the risk of delayed development, intellectual disability, physical abnormalities, and neurological and psychiatric problems, but you sort of went unscathed. Is that right?
Correct. So I don't just.
Yes, Miss Lady. She's terrified. The amount of truth you're bringing forward, absolutely terrified. Thank you so much. Thank you for the $13.99, Ms. Lady. Thank you for being a Becca Scoops member too.
Play the correlations. They say, my doctor said, not cause, but correlation between the microdeletion and these illnesses.
But it's unclear whether your mom knew that or not?
Correct. So that's the thing.
But then something crazy happened. Here it is. Gathering the audio files from Gypsy's memoir, My Time to Stand, we found a whole paragraph was missing from the audio book, even though we could still find it in the printed version. The missing audio file has to do with this genetic disorder Gypsy has admitted she has. In the book version, Gypsy claims she discovered she had this very rare disorder after she left prison. In the book, she writes, another way she, meaning her mom, justified my illness was by claiming I had a disease-inducing chromosomal defect. Interestingly, I found a chromosome test in one of the boxes of my medical files. It was ordered in 2012. Now, here's the part Gypsy cuts out. It's not in the audio version any longer. So this part that's coming up here, she cuts out of the audio version. You guys tracking this? She doesn't have it in the audio version. They took it out, but it is still in the written version. Quote, to my surprise, the results on this test indicate that I actually do have what's known as a microdeletion 1q21.1, which is a chromosomal change in which a small piece of chromosome 1 is deleted in each cell. This was news to me. Flustered, I turned to the internet to sleuth around about what this actually means. What I discovered is staggering. This microdeletion is known to increase the risk of delayed development, intellectual disability, physical abnormalities, and neurological and psychiatric problems. Wow, what a coincidence. Every illness my mother claimed I had fell beneath all of these umbrellas, except I didn't actually have a single one of them. So there she's admitting every single thing she had, right, falls into these umbrellas of the microdeletion. Yeah, because you had it, but she's claiming that her mother, it was a coincidence. Wow, what a coincidence. All of these symptoms I had growing up actually fit into the microdeletion. Well, it's not a coincidence. You had the microdeletion. And that her mother was making it up, that her mother was inducing these symptoms that fall under the microdeletion. Do you see what she's saying here? She's saying my mother must have known I had this microdeletion because she was making all the symptoms that go with the microdeletion. But the only problem with that argument is nobody knew in the whole world knew what the microdeletion was until 2008. So there was no way that Dee Dee did that. And that's why she cut it out of her book. All right. Out of her audiobook. It was in the printed version, but then she went to do the audiobook and they cut that part out, guys. Why? Because she knows it's a lie. She knows that that the lie that she was trying to tell, that her mom had made these symptoms, that no way could her mom have known it because the microdeletion wasn't discovered until 2008. So she had to cut it out, right? Because she's like, oh shit, I can't have this in because the microdeletion wasn't known back then. It's every illness my mother claimed I had
Crazy.
fell beneath all of these umbrellas. Gypsy says the chromosome disorder was news to her. It really blew her away learning this new information about her health after she got out of prison. But there's just one problem, and this may be one of the reasons it was cut out of the audiobook. Again, thanks to Into the Weeds podcast on Military Broadcast Radio, we have text messages from 2014, 1 year before her mother's demise. Gypsy is writing to her neighbor, Aaliyah Woodmansey. Gypsy wrote in 2014, they found I have a chromosome deletion. That's why all the medical issues, but I'm a fighter. So here again, Gypsy is lying in her book. Wow, I didn't know I had the microdeletion until I got out of prison. I had no idea about this, except, in 2014, she told Aaliyah, anyways, my health has been stable. They found out I have a chromosome deletion. That's why all the medical issues. Wow, there's the truth. In 2014, Gypsy had already put together, because a doctor had told her after she got diagnosed with the microdeletion, they call her in. Of course, they call her into the doctor and they go over everything and they tell her all these symptoms you had growing up is because of the microdeletion. How do we know that? Because she says it here herself and she's not a doctor. So she got that information from a doctor. Anyways, my health has been stable. They found out I have a chromosome deletion. That's why all the medical issues. She's known it all along. She's known it all along. She either kept it to herself after she got arrested when they brought up the Munchausen thing, and she's like, okay, I'm going to go along with that. Yeah, my mom had Munchausen. Yep. Yeah, I didn't need that surgery. Yeah, I didn't need that procedure. But here's the proof that she knew all along. You get diagnosed with something like a microdeletion, something that rare. The doctor calls you up. We need you to come in. We need you to come in. We're going to need to talk to you about this. right? You go in and the doctor looked at that microdeletion and said, hey, you know your G-tube, hey, you know this, you know that. It's from the microdeletion. So she's known it all along. I don't know if she told anyone or didn't tell anyone. I don't know. You guys make up your own mind about that. But right here, she says herself, that's why I have all the medical issues. Do you want to write any more on TikTok, Gypsy? I mean, be my guest. Be my guest. You know, I can do this all day long. I can do this all day. I mean, it's kind of fun, actually. I mean, get to spend time with all these great people on chat, you know? I mean, whatever. I mean, yeah, I've been going over this case and I gotta say, I got people that help me. So I can't say it's all me. Mitch helps me, obviously. He's a smart guy, you know, and I have a couple other friends. It's not just, I can't take all the credit, and then other content creators out there finding out stuff out, you know, I mean, it's been a group effort for sure. It's been a group effort. And, yeah, I think she feels the heat. I think she's busted. And I think she knows it. And she's worried what's going to happen next. She's worried what's going to happen next. Well, my advice, just tell the truth. Just tell the truth. It's time to tell the truth. All right. What else do I have for you guys? Is everyone doing okay? I know this is a lot of information. I just wanted to do it the best I can. I think we all agree the swallowing issues. I was going to show the other videos of her swallowing as a kid. You guys have seen it. You guys have seen it already. It's in my past videos. Oh, yeah. Let's go over. We weren't finished going over her this thing. We aren't finished going over it. Let's go over the rest of this. If you guys are okay with that. You guys want to go over the rest of this for a minute? Because I do have a video to go with this too. Everyone good? Everyone being good? Okay. Gypsy goes on. So before I get into the rest of this, just to reiterate, okay, she's bringing her book out again. And I can't wait to see all the changes that are going to be made in that book, right? Because they know they've got a problem there. Harlequin, thanks for becoming a Becca Scoops member. All right, she goes on. When I said on Dr. Phil that I could lie without a conscience, I meant that my mother taught me to lie, to pretend everything was fine at home, to cover up what was really happening. That's what abusers do. Again, here she is going after her poor mother. They train their victims to survive through silence and performance. Never once did I think, while expressing that people would ever invalidate my trauma and further claim that I was a willing participant in her con. Wow. Miss Faye, we live in a new matrix where gypsies don't have issues eating or drinking, and she is jogging around blocks and stuff. Exactly. The doctors who went to school for years, they got it all wrong. I need her and Ken to prove they can jog anywhere. Thank you so much, Miss Faye. 1999. Love you. Love this comment. Love it. All right, let's go on. Even if someone doubts the medical abuse, please understand that. Well, let me back up a minute. I want to address this other bullshit she just said. They train their victims to survive through silence and performance. Never once did I think when expressing that people would ever invalidate my trauma and further claim that I was a willing participant in her con. Gypsy, in the medical records, the audiologist said you were malingering. You were 14. Okay. They said, oops, you're faking it. She's faking it. I think that's called participating in the con. He goes on, even if someone doubts the medical abuse, even if someone, how about hundreds of people at this point? I think it's safe to say thousands of people doubt the medical abuse. Please understand there were many other forms of abuse. It's not normal for a mother to, here we go. Oh God, this really got me angry. Bind her 14-year-old daughter's chest. Somebody pointed out, I think over on GRB Snark, Gypsy had a few bras. She had like a fuchsia bra on in one of them, like kind of a sexy bra, right? I don't think I had that kind of a bra when I was 14. Of course, she was probably older then. I think my mom only let me get like the nude color and the white bras, at 14, but okay. I don't know about you guys. My mom wouldn't be buying me a fuchsia bra. The next thing she says, keep her from attending a formal education and cease all homeschooling after the 2nd grade. Yeah, prove it. Because in one doctor's report, if I want to get really nasty, in one doctor's report, it says that you shouldn't be in society or something, that you are having like a disturbance, psychological disturbances or something. I should have found that before I said it. So yeah, there's something about her behavior that one doctor noted, like, I don't know, she should be in society. And I don't know how true that was, but I'm just throwing that out there, Wendy Williams enters the chat. Welcome to One Scoop. Welcome to Becca Scoops, Wendy. All right. Next one, impersonate her child daughter on Facebook to manipulate her daughter's father. Gypsy, there's a lot of people that think you are impersonating your mom on Facebook. So, you know what? That whole thing, impersonate, yeah, I don't know. Is that supposed to be abusive? I don't know. It's Gypsy. That's pretty weak. Really weak. Next one, threaten that the boogeyman, CPS, would take her away for misbehaving, placing fear into her child from a young age. Gypsy, I can't tell you what my mom and dad would scare me with. I don't know about you guys. Everyone had, what their parents would say, the boogeyman's coming or this person's coming or right. I mean, I don't know. My dad would tell me, my parents were super like nice. They weren't abusive at all, but my dad would tell me about abuse that his dad whacked him so hard upside the head that one of his eyes, retina became detached. Those kind of stories. You're like, oh crap, really? Wow, you got in trouble? I think my dad set like a couch on fire or something. I don't know what the story was, but his dad, who was from Italy, really hardcore guy, whacked him upside the head so hard. Is my dad's story. And so, this whole thing, we've all got the stories, right? So I'm not finding the boogeyman abusive. Use manipulation tactics such as this must have been Chat GPT, right, guys? Triangulation, stonewalling, and verbal abuse. What has she got a PhD now? Oh my God. Leaving long-lasting trust issues. What is she talking about? That's what you do, Gypsy. That's exactly what Gypsy does. The triangulation, stonewalling, verbal abuse. Just ask Ken and Ryan. Next one. Forge medical and government documents to alter personal information, including last name and even year of birth, all to create an eternal child. For her own financial gain and emotional control. Are you talking about yourself again, Gypsy? I don't know, just asking. Those things happen and they're not normal. All right, so let me get this straight. Your mom supposedly bound your chest at 14? I don't know. I think you had bras, Gypsy. Just tell the truth on that one. She homeschooled you. Okay, sounds scary. She pretended to be you on Facebook, told you that there was a boogeyman that might come if you were bad, and forged medical documents to make you an eternal child. That sounds super abusive. How did you manage? I mean, come on. When we think of like abuse stories, and I'm not trying to invalidate anyone's abuse, even Gypsy's if she thinks she had some. But if this is the best she can do, What happened to chaining her to a bed with dog leashes? What happened to throwing her out in the shed overnight? Story changed again. And she says, that's not normal. I don't know. Most of us can say probably a few of those things were normal from our own childhoods. I don't know about you, but yeah. He goes on, I want to clarify something that is often misunderstood. I do have a chromosomal condition called a microdeletion. And she has to admit it. I have been open about this. Yeah, you were not open about it. In your memoir, you're taking stuff out from the audiobook after it was in print because you knew it was wrong, because you knew you had been caught about your mom and Aaliyah and that whole thing, and you had to take it out of the audiobook, but it was already in print. So you couldn't get it off, right? I just went over that. You haven't been open about it. You've been scared of it and trying to spin it ever since this information came out. This genetic variation was even considered during my court proceedings. What court proceedings? Does anyone know about that? Anyone? Because I don't. If you guys know, email me. The court proceedings, this genetic variation was even considered during my court proceedings. Is she talking about the plea deal? There's nothing. No one knew anything about this. It would have been mentioned in one documentary. Tell me one documentary where microdeletion was mentioned. Some people online assume that because I have this microdeletion, all of the surgeries and medications I received, all of the surgeries, Gypsy, you really had 2 that were really kind of like major surgeries. 2. I'm down to 2 of the ones because you don't count your eyes. Because yeah, the eyes were also a big deal, but you say that those were needed. Okay. So I'm counting 2 now. I'm down to 2. Okay. 2. All of the surgeries and medications I received must have been medically necessary, but that's not true. Yeah, it is. Gotta like fix the chat. Hold on. While the microdeletion can be associated with certain traits such as smaller head size, mild developmental delay, strabismus, or distinct facial features, I have been evaluated by a genetic specialist who explained that I exhibit very few of the possible medical issues linked to this condition. Gypsy, that may be true, but when you were a child, that wasn't true. Those issues you had, the feeding issues, all of that you grow out of. And I've gone over that in a video before. Okay? But you had it as a kid and it was severe and you were in the hospital for a month because of your feeding issues, your feeding aversion, your swallowing issues. And they had to put an NG tube down your nose, and that's how they gave you the medications. You weren't taking 12 different medications by mouth. They were going down the NG tube. Despite that, my mother repeatedly told doctors that I had severe illnesses, muscular dystrophy, epilepsy, hearing loss, asthma, leukemia, even cancer and paralysis. The diagnosis changed from hospital to hospital depending on what she told them. Unfortunately, many doctors took her word at face value and recorded those claims in my medical chart, creating a false and misleading medical history that does not reflect my true health today. Gypsy, you only had a few things wrong with you. That's the whole point from the microdeletion. It wasn't a plethora of things that needed to be treated. Nonies, welcome to Becca Scoops membership. Thank you for joining. So you didn't have a plethora of things. All right. And so, yeah, did your mom say some things that probably weren't true that got in your medical records? Yeah, but it had nothing to do with how they took care of you. Okay. It didn't, she could say you had leukemia from before, but that had nothing to do with what happened to you in the treatment, right? They didn't work you up for leukemia. Your mom said it was in remission. So it didn't affect your health. It didn't affect how the doctors treated you. All right. So just stop. All right. Many doctors took her word at face value, recorded those claims because most people don't lie about their medical histories. Yes, that's true. All right. And so, but the symptoms you did have, they did record because they saw the symptoms, swallow studies, right? They saw it. The pooling of saliva at the back of your mouth. A doctor noted that. Diminished gag reflexes. Doctor noted that. Okay. There's lots of instances that I've gone through many times in my videos of all the medical stuff and the true medical stuff that she had that needed to be addressed. All right. So that's her thing. Is there, yeah, she does say more. I apologize if my story hasn't always sounded 100% consistent. I've been piecing my life together, learning that Maria Mediavilla, member for 3 months. GRB, you're busted with the facts. Thank you, Becca. Thank you, Maria, for being a Becca Scoops member for 3 months. Thank you. That's part of healing from my trauma. Memory changes over time. Okay. I want to say something here. I'm not a memory specialist, but I've been through trauma. And I know one, and maybe, and yes, granted, people can go through trauma differently. Okay. Their experience can be different, everything. But I think like when you think back to your childhood and you have like a memory, I don't remember my memory changing on like specific things. Like I have one memory of being in a car with my parents and my grandparents coming down the driveway to get me. It's just a flash of a memory, and that memory's never changed, right? I was like 3 years old, I think. It's my first memory. So this memory changes over time. When she's talking about her childhood, either you don't remember certain things or those memories, I think you do kind of remember. You know, they don't, I don't know. I could be wrong. Again, I'm not a memory specialist. When therapy helps turn painful memories into a distant ones. It hurts when people call me a liar. Well, it should hurt, but you are a liar. It should hurt, but you are a liar. Or say my entire story is false. I'm still uncovering truths about my past even now. My inconsistencies are not deceit. They're the byproduct of surviving and untangling years of manipulation. Stop vilifying your mother. Yes, they are deceitful. You knew you had the microdeletion. You told Aaliyah about it. But then you murdered your mother. And then they told you that your mother had Munchausen by proxy. And you were like, really? Oh, okay. That's what happened in a nutshell. You can't expect someone who lived through psychological and medical abuse to recall every event perfectly. We don't, especially after 10 years of processing it publicly. We don't expect you to remember it perfectly. Okay. But if you're so worried about it, then let other people see the rest of the so-called, all these medical records you have that nobody's ever seen. The truth is I'm still healing at my own pace. I can't live by what others demand of me. We just want the truth. I don't think it's a big demand, just the truth. And stop calling your mom fat and stop saying your mom was horrible. Okay. Some want me to be an advocate. Others want to judge me. I can only live my life, continue to heal, and tell my truth as I remember and learn it. I can't believe she couldn't have written all this by herself, right? I can barely even read it in one sitting here with you guys. All I ask is for people to show understanding and compassion. Abuse changes your perception. Right and wrong, it shapes how you see the world and yourself. My story is one of survival, not perfection. No, your mother's story was of survival. I just went over it. Your mother was the survivor, Gypsy. She survived so that you could not go blind, so that you could have the life you have now, but you murdered her for it because you wanted to be with a boy. Yeah, she is. Aries Athena. Gypsy is scrambling to do damage control. Yeah, that's all this is. And she must be really scared because the verbal diarrhea that's coming out is just blah, right? If you are reading this and you are one of those individuals who invalidate me, what does that even mean? Invalidate you? No, you're a liar and we just want the truth. It's not invalidating you. Would you still feel the same if I had died and my mother had lived? What does that mean? Your mother saved your life, girl. Over the last decades, my story has been told in many ways. Have you ever heard of the telephone game? Oh, God, for Christ's sake. What does this have to do with anything? Tell someone else, tell someone else, tell someone else. No one's using the telephone game. There's medical records. There's what you say, and then there's the medical records. There's no telephone game going on here, girl. That is what happened on social media to my life. What? in my entire existence in my daily life. Throughout the last decade, many content creators have made video after video, rumor after rumor, until I have become someone else entirely in the minds of some. And to others, I have grown far beyond their expectations and continue to overcome trauma as a survivor. Your mother was a survivor. Okay? You're just a brat. You're just a spoiled brat. I'm sorry. I have to say it. I know it's not very professional, but let my story be a cautionary tale of what happens when a perfect storm meets a dormant volcano. Oh my God, where did she come up with this imagery? Please, someone stop. Oh, look, I'm a big reader. I love a great novel. I love reading the classics. And when I read something like this and this imagery, let my story be a cautionary tale of what happens when a perfect storm meets a dormant volcano waiting to erupt. I'm going to erupt vomiting from this. Ugh. Terrible writing. Gypsy, that's terrible. Do better. Let my story be a lesson to every victim of MPB and make this their time to stand. We love you, Becca. Appreciate your hard work and truth. Thank you, Angel Baby. Thanks for the 10 pound. Love you, girl. Love you staying up so late in the UK. I don't know how you're doing it. All right. So she's saying, let my story be a lesson to every victim of MPB. You know what? I can't even with this and make it their time to stand. Is this like she's bringing out her book again? I guess. Advocate for more education in hospitals and affordable or free therapy to survivors and harsher penalties for abuser. How about a harsher penalty for you for mommy murderers? How about that one? I'll advocate for that one. What about you guys? Oh my God. Stop writing stuff, Gypsy. I can't. How am I supposed? It's been over. How long? I'm almost at the 2-hour mark here. I never do a live for 2 hours. Ever. I'm drinking Diet Coke, caffeine to keep me going. All right. Because Gypsy is like so busy writing all these novels over on TikTok. All right. Let me see. What else? What else, guys? Is there anything else I need to go over? Oh, well, I was like finding some videos of Gypsy like eating because I was still wondering, like, in her series, is there stuff of her eating? And I did find one and I slowed it down. But you know what else I found? Like, she eats a lot of potatoes, like always fries, like nuggets, like little tiny like the chicken and fries. Like, in one thing, Ryan was eating like a big burger and a salad, and she had like this humping, like piles of like potatoes, like French fries and like chicken nuggets. Anyways, I found like this video of her eating. It's in slow-mo. Sorry, it's in slow-mo. And notice they've all finished eating, but I guess these two got there late, Ryan and Gypsy. And yeah, she's going to be eating here for a minute. And I want you guys to notice, like, think about how when you swallow, it's like that way, right? You don't push out your mouth. Like, you know how she does that push out thing? That's that swallowing issue. I want you to watch it. Okay, she's chewing. Now Ryan's going to say something and she's going to keep the food in her mouth and give him a look. It's kind of weird. Food still in her mouth, food still in her mouth, food still in her mouth. And now she's going to go ahead and swallow, but there's going to be like this thrust there. Thrust. See? So it's weird, right? I mean, I know it's not like that major. The other ones are better, but it's like this. I think because she has that high arched palate and stuff that she kind of like has to like push it down where we would go like that, right? But she's pushing like, it's weird, like the tongue thrust and all that, you know, like we see it, right? Ms. Lady, can we get her back to jail for anything? I know about double jeopardy, but is there anything we could send her back? You know what? No, not for this crime, but you know what? She's got a long life to live, and I am pretty certain she's going to do something. She's going to do something because, in my humble opinion, in my husband, the detective's humble opinion, she'll be back in prison. She's going to go back. She's going to do something. So I guess something to look forward to, right? Right. All right, guys, let me see if there's anything else. How about some questions? Does anyone have questions? And maybe if their mods are still there, they can help me. If anyone has, I can take a couple questions. If not, this has gone like a long time. Of course, you guys remember, oh, hold on. I want to say something here. Karma J, member for 5 months. Hello, hope everyone is having a good night. Thank you for being a member for 5 months, Karma J. Thank you for being here. Oma's Love, welcome to becoming a Becca Scoops member. Thank you for becoming a member. Guys, I love it. Love when you guys become members. I know everyone can't, but it is much appreciated. So behind the scenes, let me tell you a little bit behind the scenes. If you are a big follower of this case, there are things, people that you know about this case that are really integral parts to this case. And I've secured 2 of those people to go on the record. Okay. And so I'm talking about what Lori and I are doing behind the scenes. It's really shaping up. So I can give you that hope. I have to be very careful what I say for a lot of reasons, right? For a lot of reasons. We don't want it getting hijacked. We don't want somebody coming in and trying to stop us, right? So we got to be really careful. Becca Scoops. Ryan said GRB called him the other day and admit she tore up Ken's headboard. What? Oh, wow. Wow, Dash X. Whew. What does that mean? Tore up his headboard. What does that mean? Is that, I'm sorry, I did go to Catholic school. Is that a sexual thing, or what does it mean? Someone tell me. Oh, yes, we can walk Maisie soon. That's a good one, Stink Bud Potato. Yeah, I was thinking that too. I haven't done a walk with her. We take her to the dog park a lot now, so we'll do a dog park one. Yeah, and I could do like a live from there, or trying to think of other ways I can go live, Okay, guys. Let me see if there's anything else. Oh, you know what? She did address Nick. Do you want to go over that? I know it's been really long. She said some mean things about Nick. Should I put that in a video, or do you guys want me to go over that right now? You guys tired? Let me see if I can find it first. Because she said something about me, Angel Baby. Oh, thanks for more gifts, memberships. Thank you. Where is that part about Nick? No, it wasn't here, because she mentions my name in one, right? Here it is. Yeah, she says my name here. Okay. You guys okay to go for this, or yeah? All right. I was just responding to one of your commenters that said something to the fact regarding the documents in Becca Scoops, to which I simply am saying that all I want of the case file and all of the evidence to be released, because right now people only have a portion of it and there's a big portion that is missing. So when I tell the truth about something, I was asked, and it pertains to, can we call a run-on sentence? Try a period, Gypsy. My God. Oh my God. Released because right now people only have a portion of it and there's a big portion that is missing. So when I tell the truth about something, I was asked, and it pertains to Nick, I'm called a liar because those documents have not been released yet. So that is why I made that comment, because for me, if I was curious about a case, which I'm not into true crime, but there's no case that I'd be interested in, but I would want to know all of the evidence, every single page of the case file before I judge someone. Because again, we only see the most damning evidence against me. There's over 14,000 Facebook messages between Nick and I that have not been seen. And I think that if someone, hold on. I think that if someone, Nick and I seen that evidence release, Nick's side, and therefore give me a little bit, then people would be able to reference that back to what I say, and therefore give me a little bit more credibility, because right now Nick's side is being withheld, in which my opinion is pretty critical, which in my opinion is a pretty critical part of the case file. At this point, it can't look any worse on me. Oh, I think it can. There's over 200 videos you did, Gypsy. Yeah. What about those? Mhm. But what it can do is give credibility to the claims that I have been saying all along. Okay, so basically what she's trying to do here is again say Nick was a horrible, horrible, horrible person, right? And you guys don't even know what I went through with Nick. She goes on. These are the other things that involve him and the dynamics of his and my relationship that people have not seen yet. That is why I even brought him up. So hopefully soon, one of these content creators will be able to request his records and the full case file will be out in the open. Becca Scoop, did Nick's lawyer say Gypsy wanted Nick to essay her mother? Did Nick's lawyer? No, I don't believe that's true, Mighty Mulatto, but I will. I don't think that is true. I think there is some confusion on that going on right now. So, but I will address that. Thank you for reminding me. Not right now. I can't address it right now, but I will get. I don't think that's true, but I will address that. Okay. So hopefully soon one of these content creators will be able to request records. Okay. I signed paperwork I didn't read. And yes, I was an adult by age, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Can we talk about Nick just for before we end this live stream? Can I show you why this is all bullshit? Why everything she's saying, trying to say, oh, we had all these messages and you guys should see them because it can't make me look any worse. Yeah, there's over 200 videos, you guys. Did I miss something, Miss Lady? I love a deep dive into the emails. Yeah, so we are doing that. It is taking a long time. There's so many. We are in the works of doing a deep dive into the prison emails. It takes a lot of time with that, with doing lives like this, with doing my videos, and then the stuff with Lori. That's why I say thank you to everyone who's become a member because I am working like 7 days a week on this right now, which I love. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a martyr here and I'm not a victim. I love it. But yeah, I only have so many hours in the day to get to all of this. All right. Okay, so she wants all this stuff that she thinks that if these 14,000 Facebook messages come out, that it will put her in a better light and put Nick in a worse light. Except here's the problem, Gypsy. Here's the problem with all that. And I do have a video clip for that. That's one from one of my videos about Nick, because we got to remember what she did to Nick. All right. I think Gypsy thinks that we've all forgotten what she did to Nick. And some of us might need a little refresher and some of us might not even know. Times books rather than from direct connections with peers or family. And what was Gypsy doing? Well, from February 2013 to May 26, 2015, Gypsy sent Nick a vast number of videos from an account she titled Demona Love Slave. Wasserman also pointed out, now these, we don't have these, but here is the doctor who saw these videos and is going to testify. Now this is what he's going to say about these videos that Gypsy sent Nick. But Gypsy's worried about the 14,000 Facebook messages. No, honey, you need to be worried about this, that if someone FOIAs these. That in the majority of the videos, Gypsy was depicted in highly sexualized role-playing personas. They both took turns being dominant and submissive, with Gypsy being in charge, informing Nick when it was his turn to be master or slave. Gypsy was always in control, Wasserman said. Wasserman further confirmed that the videos were instructional videos in which Nick literally learned how to relate to Gypsy. It should be noted here that in many text messages where Nick might come off as the role-playing master, this was something Gypsy taught him to do in the videos. It was his turn. Wasserman further stated that Gypsy introduced role-playing and the various personas she was feeding Nick taught him about how to make a connection with her. For example, on the subject of love, she instructed him, if you love me, you will do this. If you love me, you will do that. In fact, besides manipulating this highly susceptible person, Gypsy's numerous videos were a way she was brainwashing Nick, molding him as a parent might mold a young child. Dr. Wasserman found Gypsy's videos to be fascinating because each persona had its own set of rules. He added, quote, there were instruction videos that told Nick what the rewards would be for appropriate behavior, and there were instructional videos that told him what the punishment would be for behavior that the persona did not like. End quote. In one video, Gypsy appears in a red wig portraying a character who makes a threat saying, quote, "I'll use the one card I have over you, Gypsy." End quote. This is just a glimpse of the type of programming that was going on.
One card that I have over you, Gypsy.
In another instructional video, Gypsy went into her. So I just want to pause here for a minute. When Dr. Wasserman is called, and he's the autism expert that never got to actually testify at Nick's real trial, but he did come in later and he did evaluate Nick. He is the autism expert, and he calls these instructional videos that this is how she manipulated him, and this is what level 2 autistic people respond to, is these instructional videos. Her mother's bedroom and made a stabbing motion over the bed. It was significant to Dr. Wasserman because it was a demonstration of how Mr. Godejohn was supposed to engage in murderous behavior. That video was dated about 3 weeks before. Oh, Carolina girl. Oh, I love you. I am in the process of obtaining all 200 videos from Gypsy's case file. I submitted my central. Oh my God, bless you. Oh, you're doing the Lord's work, girl. You're doing the Lord's work. Oh, Gypsy. Woo. That's good. Woo. Dee Dee's demise. Think about it. Why would Gypsy risk sending such an incriminating video, which can only be described as an instructional video about how to commit a murder? Wouldn't a conversation about this potential crime suffice? No, not with someone with Asperger's. Gypsy had 2.5. So when I refer to it as Asperger's, I just want to correct that it's no longer called Asperger's, but when Nick was first diagnosed, he was diagnosed as Asperger's. Okay. That term is no longer used. All right. Now he is just diagnosed as level 2 autistic. But when I say the term Asperger's, I'm going by Dr. Wasserman's notes. 2.5 years to realize the key to programming and manipulating Nick lie with these instructional videos, as Dr. Wasserman has pointed out. About 3 days later, Gypsy sent Nick another video. Hey, Carolina girl, again, just wow. Okay. I'm just thinking about this and I'm just like, wow. Called Ruby's Introduction to Her Perfect Man. This Ruby persona's main focus would be to ready Nick to kill Dee Dee. First, Ruby introduces herself as a sociopath. She says that she herself is a person that breaks the rules, violates the rules, creates mayhem, and she basically tells Nicholas that she is his perfect match. In the video, Gypsy says, quote, "We are together, and together we are going to go on a crime spree, and we're going to rob, we're going to steal, and we're going to do all of these things because you are my perfect match. If you love me, you will do everything I tell you to do. If you love me, you will do everything I tell you to do." And then think about how she had to send him that video of her stabbing over her mother's bed. Why would you have to send anyone that doesn't have a disability, right? Anything like that, right? If you're planning a murder, do I need to show you that? No. But she knew. It proves that she knew that he needed those kind of instructional videos, that he had a disability. She knew he wasn't all together. That's why she sent it. So Dr. Wasserman says that she's very manipulative. And like Christy says, she's smart. Don't let her fool you. End quote. Then, in a video 2 days before the murder, the persona Ruby commands Nick, quote, "If you love me, this is what you'll do," end quote, as she refers to the stabbing video.
So, she first asked me, how badly do you want to be with me?
I want to pause here. Do you see where Gypsy says, "Are you ready?" Like in all ways, Huns? This is like 2 days before. And Nick says, "What do you mean, dear?" Like he doesn't even know what she's talking about. He's like, "What?" Of course, she's talking about the murder, right? Oh, but he's the mastermind, Gypsy, right? He was the one that was all in on it, right? Give me a break.
I told her I'll do anything with you, you know that. And she said, as long as my mom's alive, I can't be with you. She made that very clear.
Dr. Wasserman. Okay, I'm going to end it there because I'll have to do follow-up with a lot of this stuff. And yeah, we've been going for 2 hours and we've covered a lot. I want to start giving my thanks to everyone that's in the chat. You guys have been great. You guys have been interesting. And let me put the there, 'cause that way we can see it. Yeah, you guys have been great. Hello, Celeste. I haven't seen you in a while. Hello, Becca and Mitch. Much love from Vermont State. Thanks. It's Marie Bitch. Thanks for modding. Thanks for being there. If Susan's still here, thank you, Susan. You guys are great mods. If you emailed me to become a mod and I didn't get back to you, can you resend the email? I'm not ignoring you. Okay. I'm one person like answering a ton of emails, but yeah, if you guys want to help out in any way, email me at beccascoops@gmail.com. What else? I just want to thank you guys for being here. You guys have been wonderful. This is my first live stream, like being like on camera. So I was a little nervous in the beginning, but I'm like, we're going to be talking about stuff that you guys need to see my face. You guys need to see my reaction, And so I'm like, I'm going to be doing this, Mitch. Go take Maisie to the dog park because I need some quiet and I need to do this. And he's like, I love Mitch. Of course, I love Mitch. He's my husband, but he's like super supportive when I do this. He's got like an introvert kind of, and I'm kind of like the extrovert. So we kind of mesh well together. All right, guys, thank you so much. Let's do it live like every week if we can, because there's so much new information coming out. Again, thank you to all being here. If you guys want to become a member to Becca Scoops, consider it. If you guys can't financially, no problem. Just being in chat and watching my videos and leaving comments, super supportive. All of it helps. All of it helps. And all together, I think we are making so much headway that pretty soon everyone in the world is going to know the truth about Gypsy Rose Blanchard. I think that day is coming. It's coming. And I think that's why she's so nervous. She knows. I mean, she is so nervous and so bothered, right? Just tell the truth, Gypsy. Just tell the truth. It's easy. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. Thank you so much. And I'll have a new video coming. We'll do a live stream again soon. And until then, Becca Scoops out. Love you guys. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.